Sripada Srivallabha, Chapter 8, Part 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Part 6, the time of Sri Datta's incarnation and the time of Sripada Srivallabha's incarnation. Yogi Jana Vallabha Kalagani Shamna, who is our Swami, was born as a playful infant on the evening of one full moon day at the time of sunset in the month of Margashira on a Thursday and in a star Mrigasari. That form is called Yogi Jana Vallabha. My dear, in this Kali-yuga, for the first time, Sripada Srivallabha was born at the time of sunrise on an auspicious day of Ganesh Chaturthi with Tula Rashi constellation Chitra and Leo ascendant in Pitikapuram as the son of the great meritorious Mother Sumati. Leela Vishwambara. Many great munis requested our Swami, who manifested as Yogi Jana Vallabha, to initiate them into the yoga path. To test them, Swami created an illusory girl. Playing with her, he dipped into a river and disappeared. This is called Leela Vishwambara Avatar. This Leela happened on Wednesday morning on the full moon day of the month of Pushya. My dear, that illusory girl was none other than Angamasta, who is the other half 10 of Dattatreya. That divine auspicious form is in the left half of Sripada Srivallabha. In the right half is Sri Dattatreya. So, Sripada Srivallabha form is in the form of Ardhanarsvara. This is a divine secret. Part 7, Sri Datta's other manifestations. Siddharaju. Our Lord lived in Badarkashram. For some time, their Siddhas tried to test Sri Swami. Then Sri Swami deprived them of all their powers. When they surrendered, he granted Atma Siddhi to them. This happened on a Thursday afternoon on one full moon day in the month of Magha. In Magha star, this form which granted Atma Siddhi to Siddhi Munis is called Siddharaju. My dear, exactly 2498 years before he manifested as Sripada Srivallabha on a Ganesh Chaturthi, one strange thing happened. Great yogis who were in various higher spiritual states did intense penance in Badrikashram and prayed for the darshan of Lord Datta. Then the Lord gave them darshan as a 25-year-old young form. He taught them Kriya Yoga, which was very ancient and which accelerated the progress of the transformation of souls. The mental consciousness, which in a natural course of transformation takes 10,000 years to reach the wholesome state, will achieve it in a few years because of Kriya Yoga. The great power in the highest dynamic planes will be attracted into the consciousness of earth, water, air, fire and sky, and in accordance with the will of Mahashakti, the gross bodies in the lower planes will be transformed. This is called Kriya Yoga. This is the most secretive type of yoga of Sri Dattatreya. With this, the molecules in the body will get charged with oxygen. The carbon in the body will be removed. This is the royal path to defeat death and become Mrityunjay. They called that form of the highest teacher and taught Raj Yoga as Sri Balaji. It was Sri Balaji only who appeared in Chandala to Adi Shankara and taught him knowledge. He is still present in the physical body. The yogis forgot to ask Sri Dattatreya, who gave darshan as Babaji, to take birth on earth. They regretted that all those great yogis reached Kaivalya Shungastha, which is between Nepal and Bhutan, and did intense penance. Among them, there were many yogis who were some 100 of years old. They performed great penance. Hearing their prayers, the Lord gave darshan. As a result of their prayers, an enormous light equal to 1,00,000 suns. Light appeared in the sky. This enormous form took the shape of an old man. They called that great Lord as Sri Vishveshwara Mahaprabhu. They prayed him to keep giving them darshan at all times. Then the Lord said that he would give darshan once in 12 years. They said that it was a long period. Then he said that he would give darshan once in 6 years. They said it was long a gap. Graceful at heart, he promised that he would give darshan once every 6 months. Then those Siddha groups asked him to take birth as an avatar on earth. Then Sri Vishveshwara Mahaprabhu promised that he would take birth as Sripada Srivallabha in Pitikapuram after 2498 years. He also promised that his partial manifestation would come 12 times and the 12th avatar, Sri Ramlal Mahaprabhu, would grant Nirvikalpa Samadhi to monk by the name Vasudevananda Saraswati. Vasudevananda Saraswati will later identify Sri Bapnare's house in Pitikapuram where Sripada was born, but he will not be able to install Padukas in that place because that opportunity of installing Padukas will be given to someone else. My dear Shankar Bhatt, remember that the will of Sripada Srivallabha is the only reason for work to happen, not to happen or to happen in a different way. I said Sri Sat Tirumala Das, the installation of Padukas is a small thing to install the Padukas in the birthplace. Is it required to wait for centuries? Srivallabha, without his will, even a small leaf will not move. In the Badri forest is Drongini, which is also called Sanjeevani mountain. He appears as a 25-year-old person and is called by the name Babaji. In the Cavalier Shugana mountains between Nepal and Bhutan, he is seen in an old form by the name Sri Vishveshwara Mahaprabhu. Now he is giving darshan as a 60-year-old child monk in Kurvapuram. He is in these three forms. At the same time, Sri Kaneka Parameshwari, who is in Adi Prashakti, is in a cave in Dasasvamedha Ghat as Babaji's sister. My dear Sripada's plays are unthinkable. They cannot be understood by arguments and are never seen or heard before. The Vaishya Munis did great sacrifice in Kashi under the direction of Maharshi Markandeya. Then Sri Kanyaka Parameshwari gave darshan in Dasasvamedha Ghat and blessed them. That was a full moon day in the month of Ashada. Vedyavasa was also born on the Ashada Purnima day. This Purnima is called Guru Purnima. Sri Dattatreya is the Guru of all Gurus and is the first teacher. Samsakarhina Shiva Swarupa. Parshuram was doing a great sacrifice on a Monday on the 8th day of the first half of a month of Shravana. Swami sat under a Krishna Malaka tree and taught his real essence of Shiva to a Muni by name Pingalanada. This is called Shiva Swarupa or Samsakarhina manifestation. Deva Deva. Brahma once forgot the Vedas on a 14th day of a month of Bhadrapada in the Shatabhishra star. The Thursday on he surrendered to Dattatreya and Swami granted him the Vedas. This is called Deva Deva Avatar. Digambara Avatar. Swami gave darshan to King Yadu and told him about his 24 gurus and graced him. This is called Digambara Avatar. This happened on a Wednesday on the full moon day in the month of Ashvayuja. Datta Avaduta. There was a good devotee called Gorakshaka. This is called Gorakhanta. Swami manifested to him on a full moon day in the month of Jeshta. This form is called Datta Avaduta Avatar. The followers of Gorakshaka are in Nepal area. A copy of Sripada Srivallabha's horoscope is there in Shukra Nadi Grandam. In due course of time, it will come from Nepal to Sri Pitikapuram. From then onwards, countless people will come to Sri Pitikapuram for the darshan of Datta Padukas. Janana Sagara Avatar. My dear, after the avatar of Siddha Raju, Swami entered into his wholesome Janana Yoga. This form which entered the Janana Yogam in the early hours of Sunday on the 10th day of the first half of the month of Falguna is called Janana Sagara Avatar. Vishambara Avaduta. The Siddha Munis who took Janana Yagam from the Lord continued their spiritual discipline. To test them, the Lord took the ugliest form. He showered wholesome grace on those yogis who surrendered to him. This happened on a Tuesday on the full moon day in the month of Chaitram in Chitra star. This is called Vishambara Avduta Avatar. Maya Mukta Avaduta. There lived a good Brahmin in Kashi on a Wednesday on the 14th day of the first half of the moon of Vaishakha in Swati star. The ceremony of his ancestors was being performed. On that sacred holy ceremony day, a beggar wearing a loin cloth entered that house with his dog and desecrated it. The Brahmin's anger crossed the limits, but the beggar made his dog chant the Veda mantras. The Brahmin recognized him as Datta Swami and fell on his feet. That was the same Brahmin who became a great devotee of Datta by the name Vishnu Datta in one word. Swami was pleased and gave a boon that he would take the avatar of Sripada Srivallabha. The married couple would be born a Sumati. And Apla Raja Sharma in their house they would worship Kalagni Shamna Datta Murti and he would be born as their child. This form as the name Maya Mukta Avduta. Adi Guru, the dual form of Datta Swali and Angalakshmi that manifested to kill Jambasura is called Adi Guru Avatar. Shyamla Kamla Lochana on a Wednesday on the 12th day of the first half of the moon of Kartika in Revati star at the time of sunrise, Sri Lord Datta gave darshan to countless people with the black lotus like eyes, Shyamla Kamla Lochana, spreading the nectarian shower of divine light rays from his eyes. This manifestation is called Shyamla Kamla Lochana. Lord Sri Datta grants happiness, enjoyment and liberation to worship him. It is enough to worship his divine Padukas. The four Vedas assumed the form of four dogs and are licking his holy sandals. The Vedas absorb all impurities. When such Vedas themselves became dirty dogs and lie at his lotus feet, it is difficult for humans to understand his holiness. Even for the celestials and the seven sages, it is impossible. During the time of the incarnation of Vamana, a sage by the name of Vamadevi Maharshi was living on his contemporary. During the time of birth, his head came out of the womb of his mother and at once retreated into the womb after seeing the surroundings outside. Then when deities and hermits prayed, he was born again. He was Brahma Janani from the very birth. The same thing happened at the birth of Sripada also, as he was born twice. He is Vijay from the very birth. He is someone who has the knowledge of the highest self from the very birth. As he incarnated with complete, undivided and infinite, non-dualistic Satchit Ananda, there was no preceptor for him. Sripada was born on Ganesha Chaturthi in Chitra star under Tula Rashi in Simha Lagna. In reality, he is not the combined form of the Trinity, but a special phenomenon much beyond them, to indicate that he belongs to the fourth dimension transcending the Trinity. He took birth on Chaturthi, also suggesting that he is Ganesha, who is the Lord of Pravrati Ganas and Nivruti Ganas. He took birth on Ganesh Chaturthi. Mars and Angaraka is the Lord of Chitra star. Angaraka is also called planet Mangala. If the planet is afflicted, many inauspicious events take place in the life of the person. Sripada was born in Chitra star to remove ill effects and to grant all auspicious results. Hence, if Sripada is worshipped during the tenure of Chitra star, one derives obedient beneficial results. Sripada is actually Dharmasastra, so to make it known that he is the son of Hari and Hara, that is Sri Ayyappa Swami, he was born in Tula Rashi, he was born in Simha Lagna, the house of the sun, the king of all planets. He is making it clear that he is the Lord of the universe and that he is the emperor who came to hold his resplendent royal darbar. There are no niceties of dharma unknown to Sripada. When a dilemma of dharma arises, the right path of righteousness would be visible when we worship him. From Lord Sri Datta, the three Murtis, and from them the 3 crores celestials, and from those celestials 33 crores of deities emerge. Therefore, when the name of Datta is remembered, it results in the remembrance of all the 33 crore of deities. For the Brahma phase of Sri Datta, Rishipuj has to be done. For the Vishnu face of Datta, Sri Satyanarayan Vrata and chanting of Vishnu Sahasranam are to be conducted. For Rudra face of Datta, Rudra Visheka is to be performed. A Saraswati resides on the tongue of Brahma. She resides on the Brahma face of Sri Datta. A Sri Mahalakshmi dwells in the chest of Vishnu. She resides in the Vishnu face of Sri Datta as Gauri Devi occupies the left side of Shiva. She resides on the Shiva face of Sri Datta. A Sri Datta himself is Sripada, Srivallabha. All goddesses and their powers are on the left side of the body of Sripada, and all gods of their powers are on the right side of the body of Sripada. Sri Venkateshwara, who manifested on the 7 hills in Tirupati, is verily Lord Datta only. Vam means scenes, Kata means stands for cutter or one who derives out. Vam is Amrita Bija and Kata is Ishvara Bija. There Venkateshwar is the one who bestows divine ambrosia and affluence. He is also the one who derives out all seeds. There is no difference between Sri Venkateshwar and Sripada Srivallabha. They are one and the same. I asked Sat Tirumala Das, our ancient elders, enjoined that the regulations of caste system are to be strictly followed. However, I feel that Sripada is telling something different. Please remove my doubt. Part 8. The qualities of a Brahmin. Then Tirumala Das started telling like this: my dear, a Brahmin should live to seek Brahma Janana. Then only he will be called a good Brahmin. One who abandons the ordinary duties and follows bad ways becomes as a bad Brahmin. When his bad ways exist and he indulges in such acts as killing a cow and eating his flesh or coveting other women, it may be understood that he does not possess even an iota of Brahmanism. On account of an excessive bad conduct, the Brahmanic glow in him would be totally withdrawn. Even the life cells in his body undergo many changes and he finally becomes a Chandala. Then he becomes a Brahmin for namesake. A Kshatriya with an intense desire for Brahma Janana can attain Brahminhood through constant penance. Then the life cells in his body from birth get transformed into Brahminic nature. Vishwamitra achieved Brahminhood in this way when Saturn travels through 3 zodiac houses during 7.5 years. The life cells in the body of every individual undergo many changes. Old life cells die and new life cells are created. All this process goes on without the knowledge of man. Part 9. The qualities of Kshatriya. A Kshatriya who lives his regular duty and engages in peaceful activities like agriculture, animal husbandry and trade. His military valor will not at all remain if the peaceful occupation reach a zenith. His mind, attitude and body undergo many changes and he will become Vaishya. A Brahmin who follows the path of a soldier becomes a person like Parshurama. Have not Dronacharya and Krupacharya, though Brahmins by birth, adopted a knightly profession in ancient times? Have I not realized Brahmin through the grace of Sripada even though I am a low caste Shudra? A person who is born a Shudra can become a Vaishya or a Kshatriya or a Brahmin through relentless endeavor. Yamadharma Raja will not punish or spare anyone simply because of the birth of a person in a particular caste. Rewards are awarded based upon the good and bad deeds of ours. I may be born as a Brahmin in the next birth even though I am a Shudra by birth now. A Brahmin by birth now may take birth as a Shudra in the following birth. Caste system is organized for some social regulations. Once Sripada said that the Almighty's face indicated Brahminatva, hands indicated Kshatriyatva, thighs Vaishyatva and feet Shudratva. Shankar, but you are accepting the hospitality in our house. The meals in our house are Brahmin meals only. Part 10. The secret of karma. This surrounding area, which is constantly reverberating with the chanting of Sripada's name and is filled with thoughts about him, is overflowing with auspicious and sacred vibrations. Narsavardhani is a Brahmin by birth, but all the material, mental and spiritual possessions in his house are venomous. Therefore, Sripada rejected hospitality in that Brahmin's house, which was filled with polluted, airy atmosphere. This is the secret. Living beings should have some castes to take birth according to the principle of karma in the process of evolution or involution. This arrangement was made for that purpose. John, a German nation was a seeker of Dharma Janana. Because of his sincere efforts, he had the good fortune of having the vision of Sripada in Kuruvapuram in the final stages of his spiritual evolution. He was blessed with the efficacious grace of Sripada, even though he was an alien. Though a resident of Pitikapuram, Narsavadani could not recognize Sripada as an incarnation for many years, and though he recognized him at a later stage, he could attain the grace of Sri Datta only after a great and arduous effort. Then I asked, Sir, you said that living cells undergo changes. Will each race have a soul of its own? What is the idea behind the statement that Parvati Devi is the daughter of the Himalaya mountain? Then Tirumala Das spoke thus: every race has a soul, it is a mental material, and it is a part that is released from the divine soul. Sri Datta, it has a great power which always has a direct connection with the divine soul. Race is not a collection of individuals born in it as you mistakenly assume. In that collectivity, individually, the various strengths, efficiencies, and attributes of all concerned individuals lie inside. Just as living cells exist in the living individuals, in the same way, each village, each town, and each country have their own souls. The earth in which we live also has a soul. We call that soul as Bhumata. It means that we call the deity favoring the earth as Bhumata. Her soul is a great power which emanated from the Supreme Soul and is related to it. In the same manner, the patron deity of the Himalaya mountain is named Himayanta. His daughter is Haimavati, where it is said that Yamadharma Raja is the son of the sun god who is the witness of all things. The meaning is that he is the divine soul who delivers the verdict considering the good and bad deeds of living being that punishes the sinners. It is only because of the energy derived from the sun god all the living beings are able to perform their actions. The sun that is visible in the sky is different, and the divine soul that supports the sun is different. I told you that Sripada would disappear when he is 30 years old. He will merge in every atom of countless millions of Brahmandas. He is omnipresent, so you may ask what is meant by merging again. Even though he is omnipresent, countless millions of greater universes are situated at some distance from his power and influence. To accelerate the evolutionary process in them, he attracts them nearer to his power and influence. When a certain crisis develops in the evolutionary stages of the entire creation, Sri Dattatreya incarnates in this fashion. Magnet attracts iron. When the iron has impurities, its ability to get attracted becomes very weak. This kind of avatar descends when it is intended to remove all impurities and attract every atom in the creation towards him and give a fresh direction to the evolution of the universe.